What is up, guys? This video today is going to be a demonstration of a sumo deadlift. Now, I have posted previously a video on how to just do a conventional barbell deadlift. This video is a little bit different. If you aren't aware of the differences between the sumo and conventional, it's really your foot position. That's the biggest part of it. So with a conventional deadlift, our hips, our knees, everything is going to be kind of at hip width, maybe inside shoulder width a little bit, and we're gripping the bar outside of our legs here. Where a sumo stance, think of a sumo wrestler, they take this big, wide, powerful stance. That is what we're doing here, and we're gripping the bar down straight in the middle. The benefits of this, there's a couple of them that, depending on how your specific build is or how you like to lift, you may or may not benefit from. The first one being different people's hip anatomies, where your femur and the head of your femur that plugs into your acetabulum, I know everybody knows that word, the joint where your leg bone meets your hip bone, different people have different anatomies on that. So if you have a wider set hip anatomy, then this narrow stance might impinge that acetabulum a little bit and cause some pain for you. Where this, opening up that stance, allows a little bit more range of motion and freedom for you in that hip joint. Another benefit is that the sumo stance, what we have here, when we drive our feet and our knees and everything out like this, is more activation of these abductor muscles on the sides of your hip, like your glute med and your iliotibial band. And what that does is just activates this posterior and lateral chain a little bit more that allows us to get a more full drive through our hips coming up to the top. And you see what I'm talking about here in a minute. So you can see I have the bar angled towards you. I can't tell if you can see it in the video, but there are rings on either side of this bar. That's for powerlifting specifications and different hand position for benching in particular. But I like to use those to line up my shins whenever I'm setting up for a sumo stance here. So I'm going to line my shins up kind of centered on those rings. Now, I have very long legs compared to a lot of people, so that may be something that you run into, that you don't like those rings. That's just a guideline that I like to follow here. But I'm going to turn my bar so you can see me a little bit more clearly going through this movement. I'm taking my wide stance. My toes, my feet are externally rotated, so I'm pointing my toes out to the sides a good bit. Now, to set up for that, I talk in all of my compound lift videos about bracing the core, getting that big, deep belly breath, filling this up with air, and clenching down on it as tight as we can with your abs, right? So we're getting that big, hard brace here that should make your entire midsection feel solid. What that does allows us to transfer force between our upper and lower body. So I'm in my hip position, I'm getting that big brace, and now I'm going to push my butt straight back. And what that's going to do is put a ton of tension on my hamstrings and glutes here. Then I'm going to grip the bar. I'm still keeping my hips up pretty high on this. Again, focusing on more on that hinge than bending my knees like I would in a squat. I'm grabbing the bar right about at or slightly inside of shoulder width is where I like it. And what you might be able to see, or you might not in the video, is that my shins right now are straight up and down. We're not letting our shins go forward like this because then it becomes a knee-dominant movement. We want this to be almost entirely posterior chain back here. So my shins are vertical. I have my big, deep belly breath. I'm braced through my core. I'm gripping the bar. The last thing I'm going to do before I pull is I'm going to tighten up my upper back. So you can hear that little click there, I hope. Right there, that. We want to tighten that up. We call that taking the tension out of the bar. So we don't want to yank it off the floor because that's where you're going to injure the upper back, your shoulders, etc. So we tighten up. Everything else is locked in. From there, all we're going to do is drive that floor out and down away from you with your feet. So I'm taking my legs, which are set like this, and I'm pushing like that, out to the side, almost like I'm trying to push into a split. And what I'm going to do is follow through. I'm going to squeeze my hips as tight as I can to the top, get that full lockout, and then return the bar to the ground the same way, just pushing my butt straight back until I'm back down on the floor. All right? So I will set up for that. I've got my foot position set. Get my big core brace here, driving my hips back, my shins are vertical, gripping the bar, shoulders tight, and I push the floor down and out. You can see that bar follows straight up the fronts of my legs the whole way. Right now my hips will almost want to cramp up because I'm squeezing them so tight. From here, hips go back, It goes straight down the fronts of the legs again. One more demonstration. Got my big breath. Everything's tight. I push straight down and out. Squeeze in the top. Hips go back. I return the bar to the floor. Then I can step up out of it. That is a sumo stance deadlift. Again, great work on your glutes, your hamstrings, etc. More so than a conventional deadlift or a squat would. Give this a try. I'm out of breath because I just did these in my workout. I will see you guys in the next video.